What's up, everybody? Hope you're having an awesome day today. So in today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and dive into a chord progression from a pop song. And this is from a song that just recently came out from Ariana Grande. It's called Needy. So if you haven't listened to the album yet, definitely do. It's a really cool flavor of pop and hip hop and R&B, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of different chord changes and stuff, especially in a couple of the songs. So in the song Needy, there's actually only 4 chords that repeat throughout, and I wanted to go into that chord progression today and kind of tell you, the theory behind it. So let me just play it once and then let's talk about it. So here we go. All right, so why does this chord progression sound slightly unresolved, but at the same time, why does it sound kind of fresh and complex in a way? And the answer really lies in the 7th chords that we're using. So just for a little bit of a visual representation, you saw here on the keyboard that the notes highlighted up in the blue that I was playing. So I'm going to go over here to my Word document. I've kind of written down the chords from a theoretical chordy standpoint, the root quality symbol. And so the first chord we have here is the A half diminished 7th. So what is a half diminished 7th in the first place? A half diminished 7th is essentially when you take a diminished chord, for example, A, C, and E flat. These 3 notes have 3 half steps in between each note. For example, a half step is 1 note to the very next note on the piano or on any instrument. So when we go from A and count up 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, we get to C. If we go up another 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, now we get to a diminished triad. A triad is essentially 3 notes played together. Tri for 3. Now, a regular diminished 7th would have another 3 half steps on top, okay, above this 5th note. But a half diminished 7th sees this 7th note raised up 1 more half step. Okay, so again, it's a diminished triad with a major third or 4 half steps above this top note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in this case, our chord is A half diminished 7th. Okay, so the top note really determines if it's fully diminished or half diminished. If it's 3 half steps up from the top note, then it's fully diminished. If it's 4 half steps, then it's half diminished. So that's our first chord. Okay. It's in terms of how it makes us feel, a fully diminished chord has this depressing kind of really sad quality to it. But a half diminished chord is way more ambiguous. It's kind of leaves you up in the air because you have a diminished chord, but then you have a major third on the top. So it's kind of a sad quality plus a happy quality. In that way, it kind of mixes with our emotions a little bit, and we don't really know what to expect. And so that's why it's a really effective opening chord. Okay? Now, so we hear this for 4 beats. 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, in the actual song, basically the low note or the root is down an octave from everything else. So basically, in my right hand, I'm playing a C minor chord, while in the left hand, I'm playing an A. A is the root. So now, in the next chord, what I'm doing is I'm taking the A and I'm going chromatically downwards 1 half step. So that makes for very smooth voice leading. And then, in my right hand, what I'm doing is my thumb and my middle finger, or the root and the third, are both going down 1 half step. So if we go here, you can see that we have the A diminished chord, and the A diminished triad is turning into a G sharp diminished triad. So we move down a half step here. At the same time, the G remains on top. Okay? So if I just play up in this register one more time. you see how the A diminished triad became a G sharp diminished, okay? And we keep this G on top. So actually, I should change this. I should actually call this G sharp diminished, plus G on top, basically. Okay, so we start with the A half diminished, go to G sharp diminished, G sharp B and D is a diminished triad, plus a G on the top. Originally, I wrote a G major chord over A flat, so it's like different ways to think about it. But this chord, going to this one gives us a sense of, okay, we're heading somewhere, right? It still has a jazzy sound because the G contrasts with the G sharp in the bottom. So that's a major seventh there. It has that kind of jazzy clashing quality to it. And then what we have next is some form of resolution. So now we get to E flat major 7, which I should clarify, E flat major 7, not E flat dominant 7, not E flat 7. So this is essentially E flat, G, B flat, and D, and then that's essentially a major triad with a major third on top, so that's a major seventh. So that's a traditional jazzy chord, okay? Any major sevenths, 9s, 11s, 13s, those kind of things give you that jazzy sound. And then finally, we have the D being lowered by 1/2 step to D flat. So now we're transferred to E flat dominant 7th, which you can see right there. Now in a classical context, E flat dominant 7th really wants to resolve to A flat major, or A flat minor, right? However, in this context, we actually resolve from E flat in the root or in the bass up back to A. So now we're taken back to the first chord in the progression, E flat to A. Interestingly, this E flat to A is an augmented fourth, and an augmented fourth is almost known as the devil's interval. It gives us a really uncomfortable feeling, right? So it doesn't make us feel that good. So it goes like, and maybe we'd expect instead we get back to, right? So overall, it feels kind of uneasy, with the first two chords kind of, leading us somewhere we're not exactly sure where yet. Then we get this resolve feeling with the E flat major 7, and then it feels really good with the E flat dominant 7. And then we're expecting, okay, I want to resolve nicely to another chord, but in fact, we go back to the A half diminished 7, so it gives us that uneasy feeling all over again. And this sets a really, really good backdrop for the melody and all the words and stuff. So yeah, hopefully that kind of makes sense. This little deconstruction of the chord progression. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. This is my first time kind of using this, piano keyboard thing, so I wanted a way to show exactly what I was playing on the computer. So thank you for watching. If you have any feedback, please let me know. And until the next time, I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.